Vyasam Tito Jayodirya Nashta Prayasho Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Utamashoki Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Nigamaka Pagaritam Param Shukamakaramita Dravisamitam Pivata Bhagavatam Rasham Mariam Mahoram Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishna's Visamitam Pivata Bhagavatam Abhagate Damagini Karunashta Dvishamasha Parana Kodano Didaham Kamapyada Vishuddha Vishuddhambabu Samapyena Vidambiksaram Prakyahido Maratam Sanflation Nirvanamusanti Nanyataham. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinu Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantara Kantanamostate Jayatam Shurito Pango Mama Mandir Matergati Matsava Shapadam Bojara Madamahanam Sriman Rasarasaram Bhivam Sivada Carson Venershan Upaka Gopinata Sri Sinha Divyad Vindaranyakapadumada Srimad Ratnagara Shima Shanishto Shri Radha Shila Govinda Prasada Bihi Sevimanushmanami Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Taya Chajagati Taya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu Mangalam Guru Rajacham Mangalam Panini Kaksho Mangarayatano Hari Om Narayanaya Vidmahi Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tano Vishnu Prachodayate Om Mahadevi Vidmahi Vishnu Padni Dhimahi Tano Lakshmi Prachodayate Mahadakshmi Namastubhyam Namastubhyam Surya Hari Priya Namastubhyam Namastubhyam Nyadadim Namaham Vishnu Paraya Krishna Pasnaya Bhutare Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Shami Tanamanaviste Sarasati Devi Gauravani Pachari Nirvishesa Sunibari Paskada Desara Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. You see behind me this motivational Monday morning, the Salt Lake City Temple, which, in case you weren't not aware of it, has been without a full-time residential devotee for over 2 years. But we have good news. We've had two applicants, Dinanath Roy, who's Bengali, and Gopinath Priya, I think, I don't know what I think he's from Karnataka. They've both been approved. The process for bringing over someone on a religious worker visa costs $1,500 and it takes a year. And it culminates in their having interviews in India at the American consulate. And after a year and $1,500 expenditure, there's every possibility that after the interview, they're denied. We'd had that happen once before. But we're absolutely jumping out of our skins here out of joy. Not one was approved, but both of them were approved, one after the other. Dinanath Roy was approved early November, and Gopinath Roy was approved just 3 or 4 days ago. So we've already bought Dinanath's ticket. He's already en route. He's flown from Bengal to Delhi, spending a couple days in Vrindavan. He'll be flying from Delhi to Salt Lake City on Wednesday. So we'll pick him up on Wednesday. And we haven't booked Gopinath Priya's ticket just yet. We'll probably book it today. He'll be coming on the 10th of December. So we'll have not one, but two full-time residents in the Salt Lake City Temple. The initiated devotee families have been doing a great job taking care of evening offerings and evening artis. There are different families that take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But the temple's been virtually closed up until about 6 o'clock in the evening for 2 years. So visitors during the day have been unable to get darshan or access the gift store. That's all going to change here. So if you're a Salt Lake City resident and you've been a little frustrated, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Also, speaking of people coming from India, going to India today are Agni Dev, our resident kirtan singer, Krishna Prasad, our resident pure devotee and harmonium player, also with a beautiful voice. They've been with us for 4 or 5 months now, I think, and we're absolutely delighted that they've chosen to settle down here. But settling down is a relative term. They both have connections worldwide. So Krishna Prasad's youngest daughter, I think, is 20 years old. She lives in Vrindavan and she's getting married. So both Krishna Prasad and Agni are leaving today for India. They'll be gone for 3 weeks. So those of you who have been coming and enjoying Agni's kirtans, and not only on Sunday does he lead beautiful kirtans, but he attends the morning and evening programs the other 6 days a week as well. So many devotees have enjoyed his kirtans. When they're gone, Bobby and I will be a little bit slammed because it's nice to have that separation. It's nice to have devotees that concentrate on the classes and the kirtans and attend morning and evening without fail. But when on top of all of that, you have to engage in so many management details with not just one, but two temples, you can't always attend the morning and evening programs. Sometimes you have to, your management duties spill over. But we'll do whatever we can to close the gap, which is being left by Agni and Krishna Vasayan while Bobby and I are knocking ourselves out to manage everything and attend the morning, evening programs and give the classes. We'll be counting down and praying for their return, which I think will be on the 12th of December, I think. Okay, so the business at hand. Thanks for joining us, Lavati. Thanks, Kelly. Shali, nice to see you yesterday. Saw the picture that you posted of your sitting companion there, Bhaskar the parrot. And Vallabha Chandra, maybe you can put in the comments how many books you sold yesterday. Vallabha Chandra, even one or two books, a great achievement. We had a nice crowd, a lot of students, a lot of people coming. Yeah, there were students from BYU, and there were also students from UVU, and there were people who weren't coming because it had anything to do with their course. I talked to several young people that had just wanted to come for a long time, had been interested, and they finally showed up, and they were not disappointed. They were very happy. We had a wonderful, sweet program yesterday. I'm still humming. I'm still resonating. 4 books, nice. 4 transcendental seeds planted, 4 potential lives change. You know, with all the negativity and the hate and the division and the name calling and the viciousness and the pettiness that we see unfolding more and more in America. America is known as the greatest country in the world. I think there's a possibility that it might become known in the future as the most petty company in the country in the world, the most self-absorbed, greedy, unsatisfied, spoiled brat country of the world. But we'll see. We'll see. Everything's in Krishna's control. One of the examples that we gave during the talk last night was that of a tiger in a dream. In a dream, you see the tiger approaching to eat you. Now, someone sitting beside you can be watching you in your bed, and they don't know why it's happening. They're like, why is he doing this? They're watching you as a witness dispassionately, and they're not seeing what you're seeing in your dream. All they're seeing are you in your bed, and you're sweating, and you're emitting little noises of fear. And although your lids are covering your eyes, your person sitting beside you can see your eyes are going back and forth, looking here and there, presumably for ways to escape from the tiger who's looming bigger and bigger as he gets nearer and nearer. You're thrashing about, tangling yourself in your bedclothes. Your heart is going 90 beats a minute. You could actually give yourself a heart attack or fall out of the bed and all of that and break your neck or break your arm. And yet the person sitting watching you is like, what is this all about? What is this person getting so literally wrapped up about? It's not real. It's just a phantasmagoria, figment of their imagination. So we need to be like that. You know, we cannot let ourselves be sucked in by all the negativity because it's just a dream. There was a devotee who passed away in Vrindavan a couple of days ago. It came up on the Facebook. I believe I met him. I became president in Berkeley in 1975, and he'd been in the temple under Bhaktidas, and Prabhupada sent a crew to Japan to collect money to build the Vrindavan temple. So Guru Kripa headed up that crew. They were really hardcore collectors. And he was sent, Bhaktidas sent him to Japan to collect for the building of the Vrindavan temple. I think I met him just as he was in transit. Very sweet, wonderful devotee. Italian. I think he had from an Italian family in Chicago. So he went and did great service, distributing books and collecting money and building the temple. And then when Prabhupada left the planet in 1977, he just went to Vrindavan to live permanently. Never had a proper residence, never had much of an arrangement for food. He just lived like a sadhu, a renunciate, here and there. And eventually got initiated by someone known as Parvat Maharaj. He just gave up this world. He couldn't, all the things that tyrannize our consciousness, that dominate our thoughts and our emotions, the Democrats, the Republicans, the vaxxers, the anti-vaxxers, the Christian nationalists, the Russian imperialists, the Gaza, the Hamas butchers, the heavy-handed Israeli response, all these things that just they haunt us. They haunt us, those of us who are attached. But I heard the descriptions of this since 1977, 87, 97, 2007, 17, almost 40 years living with just one piece of cloth. Says he cut his beard once every 8 years. And everybody who knew him, he was always blissful. He was always smiling. One devotee talks about he was living in a little hut in Radhakund, and when the devotee came to visit him, he was watering some flowers in his garden. And when the devotee came, he beamed up with a huge ear-to-ear smile. And he said, "Tonight after dark, Radharani will pick these flowers." He had nothing to do with this world. For him, this whole universe, what to speak, is just a mustard seed. One mustard seed amongst so many mustard seeds. If this universe, comparatively, relatively speaking, is a mustard seed amongst so many other mustard seeds, which are all these universes, and all these material universes are just a wispy cloud in the spiritual sky, who has the more objective point of view, us or the renunciates? It's the renunciates. We are ensnared. We've been sucked in. We've been duped by the tiger in the dream. Tiger has no reality, and there's absolutely no reason to take the tiger seriously. The person sitting beside you, now, in one sense, the person is as close to the tiger as you are, right? Tiger's right there looking in your face, and the person sitting right next to you, the tiger is also 3 or 4 feet away from his pace. But he's not worried. He's not sweating. His heart's not pounding. His eyes aren't moving. He isn't caught up in the bedclothes. You are. And yet both in terms of relative proximity to the tiger, there's no difference. It's all in the perspective. It's all in the perspective. This Parvat Maharaj, I may have only met him for 1 or 2 days, never really gotten to know him, but from the tributes that devotees wrote about him, I could see that he cared not a hoot, not a whit. You could talk to him about the butchery of October 7th. You could talk to him about 9/11. You could talk to him, all those things that, tend to make a deep impression, burrow their way into our consciousness, and they accompany us, ready to jump out like Jack in the Box at certain junctures of the day. All that and more, the whole comings and goings, boot by boot, for the entire material world is as insubstantial, with all of its anxieties and all of its worries. This whole material world, there's danger at every step. Why get sucked into it? Why run all the what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? Why spend all of your time, forget to enjoy the day that the Lord has made because of worry and anxiety over things that are probably not going to happen anyway? It doesn't make any sense. So when we see the shining example, this renunciated devotee, he chanted for, 50 years, he chanted with no distraction, no politics, no Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok, not even a cell phone, not a place to live, no attachments, not claiming ownership over anything. This is the true seer. They talk about seers of the truth. They're not distracted by the forest, the trees. They see the forest. They see the big picture. They don't get all twisted up, tied in knots. Their guts don't churn. Their acid doesn't rise. Their bile doesn't rise when they read the newspapers, because they don't read the newspapers. They don't go on Facebook. They don't scroll. So we're, in temples. We have, like I said, management. We have program, morning, evening program to run. We have Sunday feasts. We have festivals to observe. We have donors to thank. Just sent out calendars to all of our donors throughout the year. Send out receipts, spending several hours yesterday on QuickBooks, sending receipts for people that have donated, like that. Oh, we have all these duties and we have these responsibilities, and they kind of lionize our time. But it's good to think about those who are completely renounced several times a day, and to set that as a bar. Crude example, you go to the gym and you see someone who's not muscle bound, not a gym rat, but you see somebody who is optimally healthy. They walk, they're fluid, they're healthy, they have a glow about them, they have a joy, a smile, they haven't neglected their physical body, they've stimulated their body, their mind, their intellect, and hopefully the soul. And so you kind of take a snapshot of this person, and then there's a bar, there's a standard for you physically. So let those who have given up this world, who see this world as not, just like a tiger in a dream, let them be our heroes. Let them be our standard. Let's glorify them, not some vicious, venal, lying, trash-talking, resentful, bitter, petty-minded politician. Let's place the great saints and sages on a pedestal. If we're going to cast our vote, if we're going to emulate someone, we're going to set up someone as a role model, as an example, let's set up these great saints and sages who occupy the majority of their time by chanting the holy names of the Lord, and offering food to the Lord, and singing the Lord's praise, and performing arti to the Lord, and making flower garlands to the Lord. Krishna, 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 Krishna in the morning, Krishna in the evening, Krishna in the afternoon. So Gajendra, coming now to the subject at hand, Gajendra has forgotten. Well, let me take a moment out here to share with you, fresh off the press from Vallabha Chandra. The tiger in your dreams may not be what it seems. Though it may seem so real, it isn't the real deal. The things that haunt us need not cause such fuss, as long as there's Krishna to discuss. Brilliant, wonderful. The tiger in your dreams may not be what it seems. Though it may seem so real, it isn't the real deal. The things that haunt us need not cause such fuss, as long as there's Krishna to discuss. Nice, very nice. So Gajendra here is praying to the Lord as Shakshina, as a witness. And Krishna is watching us, Upadrashana Mantra Bharta. He's alongside the individual heart and the region, and the individual soul in the region of the heart. And he's witnessing our activities, not interfering, not intruding upon our little plan-making affairs, rather keeping his distance, watching us and waiting for that time that we might turn to him. So Gajendra is in this life and death situation. been fighting for 1,000 years. It's been a long time. Been a long time. When the crocodile first latched onto his leg, he took it quite lightly. He thought, I'll just shake the crocodile off. And as time went on and his own strength began to ebb and the crocodile strength increased, then he sort of, we can imagine, he sort of, thought of a higher power. It began to occur to him that his strength wasn't adequate to extricate himself from the jaws of the crocodile. So he started praying to God, God, you're a higher power than I am. So save me. Save me. Just like, let's say, well, I'll tell you an incident in my own life where a higher power saved me. I used to do cookie sales to raise money to build the Spanish Fork Temple. And in the winter, I'd go to Los Angeles. I was very familiar with LA because I'd been the life membership director there for 10 years. And so we had a little motor home, we'd cook cookies, and I'd take them to LA. So one morning, I was set up early in the morning before the store opened. It's a Saturday morning at Gemco. Gemco's closed down many years ago. I bought out by Target. But this was in Hawthorne on Pacific Coast Highway in Torrance. So I was setting up outside this Gemco, and it was summer. Actually, it wasn't winter, but it was summer. And the reason I know is because they had a big igloo of lemonade, about 5-6 gallons of lemonade. And lemonade sold very good when it was hot weather. So I was setting up my table, and there was this tall black guy. He's about 6'6", skinny, and he kind of staggered across the parking lot. He was obviously drunk. And I tried to ignore him. And I'm setting up my table, and I put this big tub of lemonade on top, and I turned to get some cookies from the van or something, and he staggered and he careened like 8 or 10 foot, and he ran into the table. He knocked the table over, and he knocked this whole igloo, 5 gallons of lemonade, which I could have sold for more than $100 profit during the course of the day, and went all over, just a mess. A place where I'm going to be for the next 8 hours. It's all sticky and yucky and everything. So I turned around, I grabbed this guy by his shirt lapels, and I just pushed him. And he was bigger than I was, but he was, drunk. So I pushed him, and he kind of went cartwheel, and he fell down on the ground. And then this really nasty, vicious look got in his eye, and he's looking at me like a tiger. And he starts reaching down for something at his ankle. And I thought, and there's and I'm looking, the store hasn't opened. There's a few employee cars in the edge of the lot, but they're inside. The doors are locked. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, where is it? I'm not sure if this guy has a weapon. I think I've bitten off a little more than I can chew. Gajendra was probably feeling like that too. He didn't feel the danger quite as much yet. So he was still taking it lightly, but he could see there's potential. There's a life-ending potential here. So maybe like Gajendra in some perverted way, I started to see that, this guy who was uncoordinated and spastic and goofy, all of a sudden, because I pushed him, he doesn't seem to be so drunk anymore. He seems more like viciously set on a revenge. And if he pulls a knife out of some sort of sock, then this could be a life-threatening situation for me. So maybe I had that in common with Gajendra. And as I cast around, think, oh my Lord, I've gotten in over my head. Lo and behold, Krishna, thank you. What should happen? But just out of chance, a police car happened to, just on a routine swing around the parking lot of the big chain department store, pulled into the parking lot. I waved to him. I said, help. I didn't say help, but I got his attention. He came over, and he pulled that man upright. And it was funny because the guy had a 12-inch knife, and the policeman frisked him, pulled the knife, and said to the guy, "What is this?" The guy said, "I don't know. It's not mine." He says, "Well, how does it come to be in your sock?" The guy says, "I don't know. Someone must have put it there while I was sleeping." Anyway, I tell that story and apologize for the amount of time it took to tell it. If you're going to tell a story, you might as well tell it with all the details and all the embellishments, right? So, you know, Gajendra at this point is looking to God. He's starting to look to God, but for his own selfish purposes, to save his own skin. Just like sometimes, when that policeman came and he deflected that man's violence, which he could have perpetrated on me, I was immensely grateful for the policeman, but I didn't want to have an ongoing relationship. I didn't ask him for his name. I didn't ask him where he lives. I didn't invite him to my house for dinner. I didn't expect to go to his house for dinner. I didn't expect to introduce him to my wife. I didn't expect to be introduced to his wife or kids. It was purely a utilitarian arrangement to my benefit, to my benefit. I mean, I suppose, we pay taxes, and those taxes go to uh, promote this policeman's salary. So we go to church and we give and we donate, and that you might consider that paying the salary. That the donations that we give at church or temple and mosque, you might consider that brings about our entitlement for protection in the form of the police. When we need them, we can call 911 or we can shout for help. But otherwise, we don't want to have a long-term, intimate, first-person name basis relationship with that person. Basically, I thanked the policeman, and then I got on with my bake sale and really never give him another thought. I didn't wonder what his name was or any personal details and so on and so forth. So this is where Gajendra is at. He's thinking of a higher power. He's turning to God, but he's not surrendering. He wants to get back to his elephant life and his drinking of wine and his drunken state and rubbing erotically against the bodies of the she elephants and being aroused to sex and enjoying. Prakriti kuramani guna karsara. The whole reason that we're in this material world, that we're embodied in the first place, that we missed out on the eternal spiritual world and came to this world of birth, death, disease, and old age because we falsely presented ourselves as the enjoyer. We falsely want to be the proprietors. We falsely want to be sovereign. We falsely want to have our own wives and our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. We want to be the head of the dynasty, the patriarch, the matriarch, with respect and honor and worship. And that's the mentality that got us in this material world in the first place. The enjoying mentality caused us to gravitate away from spirit towards matter. So Gajendra initially wasn't free from that. He began to shift. He began to transition towards the idea of a higher power, towards the idea of a supreme being. But he wanted to solicit God's help for his own trivial, selfish purposes, just like I was hoping, and my hope was not disappointed, for some authority to come into that parking lot and act as a buffer between me and this knife-wielding crazy guy. So Gajendra has been in this mood for some time. He's describing the danger he's in, and he's asking the Lord in different ways to please save him. And now he's starting to use a little bit of blackmail. He's starting to use a little bit of sarcasm to see if he can hurry the Lord along. Isn't it so characteristic that we want God to come in our when we want him, we want him to come when we need him, and when we don't need him, we want him to stay away, and we want him to come when we need him. You think about it. Think about your life and all the times you've been really frustrated, Analyze it. And what was the base of the frustration? God didn't follow your orders. Am I wrong? You were frustrated because God didn't do what you want him to do. And as if to rub salt in the wounds, he didn't do what you want him to do, and he didn't do it when you want him to do it. So this is Gajendra right now. He's a little frustrated. And he's trying to think of what combination of words will bring Krishna out from hiding. And that's just not possible. Krishna is a dokshita. You don't bring him out from hiding. That's just not possible. He's capable of coming out from hiding, but not by any pressure that you might, any sarcasm that you might use or pressure that you might use. He'll do it in his own time, in his own way. But nevertheless, Gajendra is praying to the Lord as the Paramatma. And there's two features of the Paramatma, characteristics of the Paramatma, which Gajendra is using to try to make the Lord feel guilty. Now, in Gajendra's case, at this moment in time, he's close to purity. He's close to reviving his pure consciousness of a previous life. In a previous life, he's a pure devotee. He's getting back to that. And we can't really say, whether he's there or whether he's in transition. On the one hand, he's doing what we all try to do, is to blackmail the Lord, try to hurry the Lord along, try to prompt the Lord. Lord, I'm just reminding you, this is what I wanted. It's been a while, Lord. You'd think you would have come through with it by now. After all, Lord, I chant your name, I go to church, I give donations. So, you should feel obligated to reciprocate with me according to my druthers. That's what we all do. And it's very self-serving. It's off-putting for the Lord. And so on one level, Gajendra seems to be doing that, but on another level, he's really coming from a place of devotion. We can't speak to somebody else's heart, but we know because the Lord is on the verge of appearing before Gajendra, he's accepting Gajendra's prayers. Gajendra's prayers are reminiscent of the prayers of the gopis. Gajendra is calling the Lord Paramatma here in a mood of criticism, in a mood of impatience, in a mood of trying to prompt the Lord or incite the Lord to appear before him. And the Lord's not going to appear because of Gajendra's manipulation, but he is going to appear when there's purity of heart. And that's what Gajendra is coming to. Now, the gopis, where everybody acknowledges the gopis are completely pure without any material motive, and they also address Krishna in a similar fashion. Krishna disappeared from the gopis' presence and sight during the Rasa Lila dance. They started looking for him and they couldn't find him. You can imagine how ecstatic they were to be dancing with the Lord right by their side, paying personal attention to them. And they got a little prideful. They said, look at me, look at, what's going on here? And then as soon as that pride manifest, Krishna disappeared. And they wanted to get him back. They wanted to get him back as fast as they could. So they also referred to Krishna as Paramatma. Why? Because the Paramatma was with us. Paramatma was with us. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam, the supreme Lord of all living beings. Ishvara, the Lord of Sarvabhutanam, all living beings. Hridesh Arjuna Tishtati, he's within the hearts of all living beings. Yantra Rudra Nimayana, seated in the hearts of living, as seated on a machine. This body is like a machine, and Krishna is the life in the machine. Like the police, remember that song? What is it? We are spirits in the material world, our spirits in the material world. And along with our individual spirits, there's a supreme spirit called the Paramatma. Now, he can see everything that we're doing, but we can't see him. He's in hiding, so to speak. In Gaza, there are so many children, it said, who are dying. As the Paramatma, Krishna did not save them. He did not come out and save them. It's, some people say, well, God couldn't exist because he didn't allow this to happen. Well, we made our choice. We didn't have to come to this material world. We didn't have to take material bodies in the first place. So, you know, you made your choice. Now man up and take the consequences. And that might be hard to say. That might seem callous to say that of children, but the soul in the body of children is not their first birth. The soul is not an innocent child. The soul takes birth according to the activities of one's previous life. So we needn't have come to this material world in the first place. So having come here, we're going to die this way or that way, today or tomorrow. There's no sense in moaning and protesting and ranting and raving because a soul left a body, because that's what's happening in this material world every single moment. It might be from an Israeli bomb, or it might be from a Hamas butcher, or it might be from a germ, it might be from COVID, it might be from pneumonia, it might be from a car accident, it might be from a drive-by shooting, it might come from a sneeze. You might sneeze too hard, stop your heart. We see stories of friends, how you're a couple of young boys, strong, strapping, and you play with each other, you kind of mock punch each other. Every once in a while, you get a story about a best friend or a brother who mock punched his other brother in the chest, and freakily, it stopped that young boy's heart, and his best friend, his brother, dropped dead. Now, this happens all the time. It's the material world. You chose it. The other embodied beings chose it. So don't cry in your beer, so to speak. If you want to solve the problem of people dying, don't march in the streets and wave flags. Chant Hare Krishna. Don't come back again. You're going to die. News flash. You're going to die. You can't stop it. This way or that way, today or tomorrow, you are going to die. So what are you going to do? Not about how someone dies, or who dies, or at what age they die, or is there a just way to die, or is there an unjust way to die? Why don't you wake up, get smart, and focus on the phenomenon of death itself? It's universal, it's unstoppable. Nobody gets out here alive. What are the verses from my karma song? Is there any purpose to our life on earth? Do we just die and continually take birth? Is there any escape from the pain of coming back again and again and again and again? Well, yes. Yes, because you're not the flesh, you're not the mind, eternal spirit design in the image of Almighty Divine, attracted by unselfish action, serving the Lord with dispassion, acting only for his satisfaction. Devoted souls achieve extraction from karmic reaction. If you want to burn up your karma, practice the Dharma, pleasing the Lord, fashioned by his hand, act according to his plan, and never ever come back to this material world again. I remember Prabhupada was being interviewed in Australia on a television station. The interviewer, in a somewhat of a challenging tone, he said, "Swamiji, there are all kinds of people out in the street protesting. There are people protesting civil rights. There are people protesting the war in Vietnam. There are people protesting this. And you are also out. The Hare Krishnas are also out in the street with all the other protesters. So what are you protesting?" Probably we were protesting death. We were protesting death itself. The human form of life is meant for solving that problem. The human form of life is meant for eliminating death. We are originally, constitutionally, deathless. Oh, because of our self-centered enjoying propensity, we've subjected ourselves to death. So it's a diversion, it's a distraction to occupy, to obsess about who dies, when they die, at what age they die. Was it fair? Were the circumstances of their death were fair, or were the circumstances of their death? It's all baloney. It's all baloney. Focus first of all on the fact that you're going to die. You don't want to die. And you are empowered by God in this human form of life to solve the problem of death. The human form of life is a unique opportunity to overcome the cycle of rebirth, which no one survives. Time to realize your state. Time to realize your human form of life is a unique opportunity to overcome the cycle of rebirth, which no one survives. Time to realize your eternal state and attain the spiritual world one day. We have free will to make our own decisions, but we have to face the reactions the way we've been living. Sense syndrome is fleeting and shabby. We do it over and over, but it never makes us happy. Not knowing our true nature, we cling to this temporary stuff, but it's never enough. We cage ourselves in this prison. We numb ourselves to this crummy position. We allow the media condition us to shop to it. We're addition to this body, which we're not. Ignorance causes dissatisfaction of the soul. We can't imagine why we're not happy. Then we grow, get crabby, and go cold. It's hard to turn back once the soul's been sold. If you don't know who you are and why you're here, and you be honest, you don't, you might find out if you consider the soul. That's our last word on the subject. Thank you, Parvat Maharaj Loka Sarangi, for spending 50 years chanting 64 rounds a day, not even concerning yourself with new clothes or cutting your beard or where your food was going to come from. Thank you for showing us that we are not part of this material world, and nothing that goes on in this material world should affect us, should spoil our day, steal our joy, any more than a tiger appearing to us in the dream should have the right to monopolize our consciousness. It should not. So let us be grateful, among so many other things to be grateful for the saints and sages who come to this world but are not of this world. They're here only nominally, only in a token sense, because already their mind, their words, their deeds are entwined around the lotus feet of Krishna. They're here only to show us the way back home, back to God. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right, that should do it for today. It's 14 past 8. We've been going for 45 minutes. This is the 151st or 152nd or 153rd. I'll double check it on my phone. But thank you, Gajendra, among other things to be thankful for. Thank you, Gajendra, for showing the way. Vallabha Chandra joined us. Leah Blackburn, Lilavati, Kelly, Haribo, all of you, Shali. Shali's got a brand new marble Krishna deity in her home. Krishna Prasad is going to India for 3 weeks. She can bring you back some clothes and some jewelry for that deity. I believe Krishna Prasad mentioned to me that she's going to do that. And once more, let's enunciate Vallabha Chandra's short little poem here. The tiger in your dreams may not be what it seems. Though it may seem so real, it isn't the real deal. The things that haunt us need not cause such fuss as long as there is Krishna to discuss. I think I'll change the title of this from Krishna hiding to Tiger in Your Dreams. Oh, here's another poem by Vallabha Chandra. We come into this material world trying to control others, asking Krishna to satisfy all of our druthers. But you're not going to die, but you are going to die no matter what you try. So let Krishna take control of your soul rather than demanding that he make your material situation whole. That hits the nail right on the head. That's what I was trying to say. We come into this material world trying to control others, asking Krishna to satisfy all of our druthers. But you're going to die no matter what you try. So let Krishna take control of your soul rather than demanding that he make your situation whole. I think that's a really good note to end on. Thanks for being with us. This has been Motivational Monday. We barely scratched this particular topic of Krishna being sarcastically referred to by both Gajendra and the gopis as Paramatma. We'll dive into that more tomorrow on Transcendental Tuesday. In the meantime, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram